So we're going to do some introductions tonight, talk a bit about move-in, expectations, and then we'll get into a Q&A. But first, we'll go ahead and meet the team. So I am Ricky Huffman. I actually work for Lisa as one of her, as her marketing person. And I normally am tech support on this, but tonight we have Mara Sigler doing that. And then of course we have Eric O'Hara, who's our Associate Director of Housing. And then before we get started tonight, just a couple of housekeeping things. First, if you can put your student's name in the chat so that we can get them checked in for tonight, that would be awesome. And next, if you can save all your questions for the end of the presentation, that is when we will be answering them, and Eric will be answering them, and I will be helping, and Mara will be putting links in the chat as well. So ways to get involved with the Mountaineer Parents Club is if you visit mountaineerparentsclub.wvu.edu, you can join, it's free. We send a bi-weekly newsletter and we just keep you updated on everything that's going on at WVU. We even have a section at our newsletter now that's just for parents of incoming freshmen. So class of 2026. If you ever have any questions, you can always email us at parentsclub@mail.wvu.edu. We highly recommend that you join these two Facebook groups that we have, like us on Facebook, but also join the official families of the WVU class of 2026 if you have not done so yet. You can submit questions. We answer all day, every day. And there's, if we don't know the answer, we find it for you by sourcing it out. And of course, we have a really great parent helpline as well. Our friend Katie Gallagher answers that on a regular basis. So if you do need to reach out via phone, 1-800-WVU-0096, and she will be answering that. Again, I'll put our email in the chat later tonight, as well as this website. So if you do have any questions, it's a free organization, and we do hope that you will consider joining. So we'll go ahead and get started tonight. We'll pass it over to Eric, and he will lead the way.
Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. Once again, my name is Eric O'Hara, and I serve as the Associate Director for Housing Services. And I know we're getting really excited because move-in is just around the corner. So let me talk a little bit about move-in and what to expect. For one, it's a 3-day process. This is really relatively new. It's kind of part of the new move-in process post-COVID. So it is 3 days from August 11th until the 13th from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. There will be 3-hour time slots. I know a lot of you are really excited to get that time slot set up. And we expect that in the next month or two that you're going to get information about that. That's going to go to the student's Mix account. And then students will be able to go online and select a time slot. I know too that there may be some conflicts and things happen, or maybe there's not a time slot for the time period that you're looking for. And we have some things set up for that as well. So where you can contact us and we can try to find a spot that we can fit you into to meet your needs. So don't let that stress you out as well. We'll get that out soon and you'll be able to plan in advance. So general moving considerations. The first one that I want to go over, and the most important, is pack light. Pack light, pack light, pack light, pack light. You're going to get a feel for the space after you get here. You're going to get a chance to get items later. We have 2 Walmarts, a Target, and now you can order anything online and have it delivered to your residence hall front desk or the main mail room in Towers just below all 4 of the towers, so you can bring something later. So after you get a feel for the space, you can find out what you need. Pack light if you're close. Remember that you can bring items back in shifts. So don't bring all the winter items when you get here in August. You can bring that after Thanksgiving break. And we have students from all over the country and all over the world. So believe it or not, we have students showing up to stay with us all year long with just a backpack or just 1 suitcase. So the other thing, if applicable, communicate with your roommate, find out what they're bringing. You don't need to duplicate items. You don't need 2 televisions for the room. And you don't need a 50 or 60-inch television screen either. So find out what you're going to need, talk to your roommate, find out if they're going to bring it, and split some of those things. Another thing that you can split is if you're going to rent that micro fridge. So you can split the cost of that as well. So they're only going to let you order one per residence hall room. And it's definitely one of those things that you want to consider because it's not something that you want to pack and bring with you. And typically, if you're moving into an apartment in the following year, it's not something that you're going to bring with you as well. So what to bring, what to leave. We have that we have that link in the presentation here, and we encourage you to go to our website. And if you ever get lost on our website at housing.wvu.edu, simply type in what you're looking for, whether it's rates, whether it's what to bring, MicroFridge. If you typed in MicroFridge, it's going to bring you right to our optional service page, which is going to give you more information about MicroFridges, on-campus marketing, such as linens, care packages, carpets, and then there's a Hutch website as well. So a lot of great information out there, a lot of things that you can have delivered later. And then just to go back to what to bring and what not to bring, there's a comprehensive list of the things that you definitely want to bring, things that you may want to consider to bring, and things that you definitely don't want to bring, things like fireworks or other unsafe items. So residence hall information, review the website. One correction to that, I would say go to the housing.wvu.edu website. The My Housing is going to bring you into the housing application, which you've probably already navigated. So navigate to your residence hall to get more information about your specific space. So if you go to the main web page, type in your residence hall or search residence hall, it's going to bring you to the residence hall page that includes general information about the residence hall, staff information, amenities, a picture gallery, the layout, and then most important, scroll to the bottom. You're going to see where the dimensions are, the room dimension link. And in there, you're going to be able to see how big the windows are, how big the closet is, how high you can raise the bed, and in most cases, how big the room is itself. That way you can plan a little bit. One common question we get is how high the beds will raise. That information is there. And remember too, you can buy bed risers. You can't loft the beds, but you can buy bed risers up to 6 inches. And a lot of those options have different cool features such as plugs, outlets, USB ports, all kinds of fun things that you can dig into. Getting involved. So one of the first things that you're going to do after you get moved in, you're going to meet with your resident assistant. Your resident assistant's going to go over all the fun and exciting activities that are created during Welcome Week, and they are designed to help students transition from high school to college into that first year. So a lot of great things, and they will be updating that website soon. So pay attention to that. And of course, you have our caring and supportive staff. You have our resident assistants. I'd say the most important student leaders on campus. We have a lot of great student leaders, but the reason they're so important is nobody has more contact with first-year students than our resident assistants. So they're there living in the trenches with the students, and they've accepted those roles, those positions, because they want to help and support students. And then of course, the residence life specialist, which is the full-time live-in staff member, night staff, university police, all kinds of wonderful staff members that are there to support the student experience. Then get involved in other things such as community council and the Residence Hall Association. Be the voice of your community. Decide what programs and activities that you want to do. Get a chance to meet other people. Be that voice for your residence hall. Resident assistant position, it's never too early to start thinking about that. No first-time freshmen can't be resident assistants in that first semester. But in the middle of the fall semester, sometimes a little bit early, you're going to start seeing information about applying to be a resident assistant. And like I said, extremely important position, extremely valuable position. And that's something that you want to get involved in as soon as possible. If you want to be an RA, we encourage you to get involved in all the residence hall activities and get to know your RA. And then student organizations. So we have a lot of things going on in the residence halls, but we literally have hundreds of student organizations. And if the student organization that you're looking for doesn't exist, I challenge you to create that student organization. So go to our student org page and you'll find so much information about all kinds of activities and things that you can get involved in while you're here at WVU. I wanted to revisit, I know we've talked about this before, but a common thing is we're getting close to about 4,000 students being assigned to the residence halls. And we know that some students want to explore other options. We do keep that wait list open all the way through the end of June. So, and what we're doing there is a lot of times we'll get questions or get calls very quickly after somebody submits a room change request. But remember, we probably would have put you there right away if we had that spot, but we're going to manage that through the end of June. So as students cancel, as students move, there's a lot of things going on. We're going to do our best to get you to the spot that you want to be in. But remember, one, you have to have that assignment first. So you have to apply for housing and be assigned. And then remember, limiting conditions can maximize those opportunities, meaning if you say that you want to be in Seneca Hall on the 3rd floor in an east-facing room with these 3 roommates, that makes it a lot harder than saying I want to be in Seneca Hall, or I want to be in Summit Hall, or I want to be in Stonecker Hall, or I want to be in Towers. So once again, open through June 30th. We will work hard through that list for the next couple months. And I want to revisit that timeline expectation. Getting a lot of those calls now. Hey, I just put in a room change request a couple days ago. Give us a little bit of time to get through those and let that magic happen. When in doubt, a lot of information. Sometimes you can get lost in our website too because there is so much good information. When in doubt, contact us. Don't hesitate to call us. If you miss us, leave us a voicemail or send us an email. Normally, if you leave us a message, we're going to get back to you within normal business hours, probably within a half an hour. So when in doubt, let us know something's going on, you need more information, and we're going to reach out to you as quickly as possible. So I went through that in a hurry because I know you probably have lots and lots of very specific questions. So please fire away.
All right, we'll take some time to let you put any of your questions in the chat. This is the perfect opportunity to ask them while you have a housing representative right here in front of you. And so start putting them in there, and once we get those, we will start answering them. I'll go ahead and get it started though. Eric, can you tell us a little bit about how the move-in process works? Give us a little bit more detail.
Sure, absolutely. So in the past, it was one day. So imagine about 5,000 students converging on campus in one day to move in. Well, believe it or not, it was a well-oiled machine. It was very organized. And what happens is we get you as close to the residence hall as possible. So you're going to volunteers out there, university police officers getting you as close to the residence hall as possible, guiding you in so that there's a place where you can drop your items off in front of the residence hall and then move your vehicle to the holding area and lot. And that's why we limited 3 hours. That's our big backup, is that if parents hang out, if they take too much time, and we know you want to get the room set up and we appreciate that, and we try to give you time. But if you hang out too long, it creates that backup and we cross the stream. It's tough to kind of cross the streams as people are trying to get as close to the residence hall as possible, or they don't have that ability to go into the holding lot that we're reserving for students and their families after you get all your items dropped off. So that's really, really important. But yes, they're going to get you as close to the building as possible, allow you to drop the items. Somebody's going to park the car. Parents can come back and help get the room set up. And I tell especially mom and dad, if you're helping the student move in, you know, they can do a lot of the heavy lifting. Sometimes you're just the supervisor, and you can supervise from the car with the air conditioner running as well.
It really is a fine oiled machine. I have to agree with you, Eric. I have volunteered, but I have also moved in myself. And they have carts, so do not worry. But as Eric mentioned in the beginning too, things like bottled water, snacks and stuff, get those when you're here. Don't feel the need to take up space in the car for those types of things. So now we have lots of questions. So Amber's asking for Honors Hall. I don't see pics of the bathroom. Is there storage there? And dimension for a bath mat?
Definitely can have a bath mat. The storage is limited. Remember, most honors rooms are doubles, 2 rooms connected by a bathroom. So there's 4 people sharing that space. So if you've got a shower caddy, I would definitely encourage every student to have that. It also makes it easy for our facilities team to get in there and clean it. And they're going to come into those suite style restrooms about once every 3 weeks and do a good house cleaning of that area. But we want students to keep it clean as well. We're going to provide toilet paper and all those other things that you need. Shower curtains, that's a common question we get a lot. So it's already going to be there. But not a lot of storage area in the bathroom, and the expectation wouldn't be for students to leave their personal items within the community bathrooms or the suite bathrooms or the pod bathrooms in Oakland Hall.
And just going off that, Erica, an additional question I know we get a lot of questions about. You said 3 weeks for like a deep cleaning, but someone does come in weekly to do trash, correct?
The students will be bringing out their own trash. They're going to do
Okay.
every 3 weeks. That's just the suite bathrooms, but in those pod bathrooms and in those community bathrooms, that's going to happen almost daily, that they're going to go in there and clean those spaces and pull the trash. But in the small suite bathrooms, we want students to keep those clean, but a full house cleaning is going to happen about every 3 weeks.
Awesome. Abigail asks, can they bring their own bed or futon?
Can't remove, you may have space for a futon. It depends on where you're assigned. Some of the older buildings are a little bit larger and would be more accommodating for that compared to some of the newer buildings that have that partition set up, such as Oakland, Lincoln, and Honors. They're a little bit tighter and narrower in that way, so you wouldn't be able to fit a futon in there. Definitely go back to our housing webpage, housing.wvu.edu, go to your specific building, and then scroll down where you find that room dimensions link, and you'll get a better feel for whether or not you can have a futon.
Do you recommend mattress pads?
Mattress pads, there's a lot on OCM's website off our optional services. That's really a matter of personal preference. You can definitely bring a mattress pad, and I think I failed to answer the question about mattresses. You wouldn't be able to bring your own mattress. We wouldn't store the old one, but a mattress pad is a great option, and there are so many different styles and options from multiple vendors that you can find the one that's best for you. And after the student gets here and gets a feel for it, that's another great example of one of those things that, hey, if you realize you forgot it, you can get it quickly, you can have it delivered to your front desk and have it very, very soon.
And Amazon Prime has those student discounts. What size sheets?
Great question. Twin extra long in every space but Seneca. That's the only one that has the traditional sheet size of just a regular twin. So twin extra long in all other areas.
So Sarah asked, and Mara put it in the chat, are there floor plans anywhere online? My son is in Lincoln, and we are wondering which direction his room faces.
You may have to reach out to me directly. There's no specific floor plan, but I can dig in. So if you call and leave a message for Eric O'Hara, just throw Eric O'Hara in the chat for everybody. I'd be happy to look that up for you and find out where you're facing. And maybe I can, if I have it, send you a snippet of what that looks like.
Where do we get the bed blocks, and who puts the bed blocks on the bed? The student or the university?
Bed risers not to exceed 6 inches. They're normally very, very light. It's one of those things you just pick up one end and put it underneath, pick up the next end, put it underneath. So it would be done by the student.
Is Seneca Hall co-ed by floor?
It is, and it's a little bit different in that they are studio apartments. So those apartments are single gendered, but they are co-ed throughout the floors. And in some cases, they may be heavy male or female, depending on the floor that you're on.
In Braxton, I assume toilet paper is provided, which you did say yes. And the student brings a bucket, I'm assuming a shower caddy, with soap, shampoo, conditioner, all of that. Is that correct?
Yes, I would bring those things, especially those things that are important to you. If you have a specific style of shampoo, conditioner, once again, you're going to be close to storage. You can have it delivered to if you forget something, so don't panic. But yes, I would encourage everybody to bring a shower caddy, even if you have a suite style bathroom, as I mentioned before, because you're not going to store those items in the bathroom. You're going to bring them in with you. Find that comfortable towel that you like too. OCM has a lot of great options, but you know your preferences and what you want. So bring it. And if you forget it, you can order it and get it there quickly.
And shower shoes.
Shower shoes, yes, great. Great point. You definitely want to bring shower shoes. Those are great to have in any residential community.
Yep, and you can cheap Old Navy flip-flops if you're looking for options. Those work great as shower shoes as well. So best ways to get from Oakland Hall to classes downtown?
2 options. So remember, students are probably going to have classes on both campuses. There's people like me that lived in the residence halls in the 90s that think that they're all going to be in one area, and a lot has changed, and the Evansdale campus is different. And there are a lot of great transportation options. One, the PRT that a lot of people are familiar with, the Personal Rapid Transit System, but you also have the Mountain Line bus service that picks up in front or near all the residence halls, that's running regular routes, especially during class times, but even after class times. So it's very easy to get back and forth. Another question we get a lot is, should I bring a car? There's no prohibition against bringing a car as a first-time freshman. If you don't need to, I would suggest you don't, simply because it's a huge responsibility. It's not as if you're going to park in front of the residence hall and then drive to class and get out. You're probably going to be assigned to a holding lot. You can get more information about that at transportation.wvu.edu, or there are private lots available. But I'd say you can if you can get away without it, if there's not a very specific reason as to why you need it. We have so many great transportation options. I just talked about to and from different campuses, but also throughout the community in Morgantown as well.
If my student is coming early, move-in, Quest trip, does he move in, or does move-in happen the day before the trip or on the first published day of the trip?
All of our adventure trips, they're different adventure trips. All of our early arrivals, that particular department is going to communicate with you. So Adventure West Virginia is going to let you know exactly when you're supposed to move in. There are a few other programs, summer bridge programs, band students, international students, ACEs and the engineering college. There are different programs that will have an early arrival component, but those departments are going to let you know what those expectations are and when you should arrive. And then with the time slots too, we may, for some of those programs, automatically assign you to those time slots because that's when you're supposed to arrive for the program that you're in. Adventure West Virginia would be one of those examples.
Is the room key their student ID, or is there a physical key?
That is a good question too, and it varies by residence hall. In all cases, you're going to use your student ID card to gain access to the exterior of the building. But in some areas, such as Towers and Borman, you use a room key after you get into the exterior of the building. And then in some places like Seneca, you're going to use your ID card to get into the exterior of the building, to get into your apartment, but then you're going to have a separate bedroom key. So Honors, Oakland, they use their ID cards in their on their room doors. Lincoln, I don't know if I mentioned that one or not, but it's a mix depending on where you live. But regardless, you're going to have to use your student ID card.
All right, after the 3-hour time window, can we go back to bring more things in if needed during the weekend? We are 6 hours away, so we want to go to Walmart or Target to buy some of their things.
Yes, we'd ask that you don't do that during the regular move-in times. So wait until that after 8 p.m. so you're not crossing the streams, as I mentioned before, and you're not taking up one of those holding lot spaces that students need. But you would be able to come back. Keep in mind, welcome week's going on. So you want to pay close attention to that schedule because your students are going to be involved in a lot of activities once the ball gets rolling for that. So they may not be there. But you should have some time later in the evening. You should have some time over the weekend to carve out some time to come back if you need to. And like I said, I can't emphasize this enough. If you forget something, don't worry. You can get it to your student. They can get something in town. So I always say too, you're going to get a better feel for your space after you're there for a while too, and find out what you need or what you wish you wanted. And some of those things you wish you could throw away.
I definitely brought too much stuff. Permitted items as far as a mini blender, fragrance plugins. I know Mara will also put the permitted items link in the chat. But what's your take on that, Eric?
Well, with fragrance items, no candles. We ask that you don't have the Febreze items that you plug in because it is a very tight community and that can bother students with allergies and permeate to other rooms. That doesn't mean that you can't bring some lightly scented things, but definitely not candles or anything with a flame. When it comes to appliances, unless it has a kitchen like it does in Seneca, limit that to the coffee makers, nothing with a heated element such as toasters. Blenders can be very loud, a little bit dangerous as well, but I know a common item that students will definitely want to bring or consider. If they're coffee drinkers, you can bring a coffee maker, a Keurig, something with a lighted indicator or an automatic on and off function. So wouldn't want you to bring griddles and grills and even toasters or things with heated elements. And remember, you have dining halls next to all the residence halls, so you're close to it. And you're not restricted to the residence or the dining facility that's in your hall. You're able to use them all. So if you're across campus, so you have a lot of great options there. And if you rent a micro fridge and have the microwave and the refrigerator, snacks and things that you need there, and then use dining dollars at other dining options as well. So lots of options there.
Are there curtains or blinds in the windows of Summit Hall?
I think they're getting newer window treatments for Summit. That was a traditional blinds area, but I would have to go back and look. I'm embarrassed. You caught me off guard. I'm trying to think of what's there because we've moved and we try to update those window treatments on a regular basis. And we're moving more towards the blind option over curtains or shades, I should say. Maybe a better way to describe that.
Awesome. Size limit of TVs.
There is no limit, but there is no good reason to have a 60-inch television screen in your room. So I wouldn't personally go beyond 32 inches. And you do have cable in your rooms. All the ports are active, but one thing that has definitely changed since my time is that a lot of students are streaming on their personal devices. So some students may not want to bring one at all, but a small TV is great for the room. You'll have room for it, but you don't need two that are competing with one another. When you're in a single residence hall room, I wouldn't go above 32 inches. There may be a few people that have a preference for something larger, but it's going to take up space.
What is the best way to get in touch with your roommate, and how do you order a micro fridge?
So to get in touch with your roommate, you can do that within the portal. If you go back to the housing application, and that's the one, myhousing.wvu.edu, most likely you're going to navigate directly to the application status page. And on the app, and if you don't, go to the application status page, pick that from the top. And on the application status page, you're going to see your room information, your roommate, your suite mates, view information, see their profile if they put it there, and you'll be able to communicate with them via the portal. Sometimes students in their profile will include social media links as well. So definitely start talking to them as soon as possible if you haven't already done so. And students, please start checking your WVU email account mix. It's never too early. Everything the university communicates is going to go through that system. So it's very important that you start checking that. You may not know that your roommate's been trying to communicate with you as well.
We visited March 26th for Discover WVU Day, and we did what we thought was a tour of a sample of a quad room in Seneca. We asked at least 3 times if this was an apartment or a dorm. Each time we were told that it was a dorm. Website showing a 4-bedroom as having 3 twin and 1 full bed with 1 bathroom. We saw 4 bedrooms, all 4 beds, full beds, and 2 bathrooms. What should we plan for?
The twin option, I'm pretty confident. You may have emailed our department. I may have been the one that responded back to you that it very much sounds like you toured the North Tower, which is part of university apartments, which isn't part of the residence halls. And if you want to, you can communicate with us, ask for me specifically, and I'll happily take a snippet of your particular apartment, but I would definitely plan for the twin bed, not the full bed. That would have been in the apartments.
Are there set activities for freshmen around move-in?
Yes, and that's what's going to be posted on the Welcome Week page. When I last checked, it hasn't been updated yet, but I know they're planning a lot of those activities, just like we're getting move-in appointments ready to go. So that information will be out relatively soon, but you're going to be very busy during Welcome Week, and there are a lot of not move-in, but a lot of Welcome Week activities designed to support your transition to college.
And the planning is underway because I've started meeting with my group. Are hangers provided in Summit?
Hangers are not provided. So that's an item that you definitely want to bring. And closets can vary too. Every area is going to have a closet or a wardrobe, but I thought I saw some questions in the chat. So every room is going to have that closet. Some lock, some don't. It depends on where you're at. Towers, for example, there is a key for the closet. A lot of the closets have hasps, but not all. Some of them have mirrors, that they're mirrored sliding doors, and those don't secure. So it varies by residence hall, but definitely check out our picture gallery.
Does students' mail go directly to their residence hall?
It does. So all the residence hall main desks receive packages and mail. Towers, there's one central mail room in the ground floor, below the first floor. I guess you would call it the basement, right in the center there. And that's the mail services for the entire university. So packages come in there for students. And in all cases, students are going to receive a notification that they've received a package, not a letter, but if they receive a package from United States Postal Service or from FedEx or UPS or DHL, they're going to receive a notice via email that they have a package at their main desk or in the mailroom of Towers.
Do we need to bring blinds in Summit?
No, all windows should have window treatments. If you find that you need something else, that's one of those things I'd wait until you have a feel for the space.
Do you recommend a room purifier for Bennett Hall?
I don't think it's necessary. So once again, that may be an individual preference. We definitely want to keep your room clean. And if you ever saw something that doesn't look right, we want you to communicate that. And there's a work order system, and we would have our team on that as quickly as possible. There are certain things that you may see in your room. So when you go into Summit, it's going to talk about not blocking, or in Towers, not blocking the air intake. Sometimes when the air conditioning is running and it's hot in that early part of the year, we don't want windows open because that can cause condensation or other issues. But those are some of the things that your RAs are going to review with you, some of the information that will probably be in the room for you when you get there, so that you have a good feel for the space and how to make sure that it stays comfortable.
Also important to remind your student too, to not leave any wet towels laying around or wet gym clothes or swimsuits or anything like that, as that can cause issues as well. Speaking of maintenance, how are maintenance requests handled?
So a student or parent at any time can go to the work request system and submit a work request. They can also call, and then after hours, those calls get routed to the university police department, and they would report any of those issues to our emergency maintenance team. But you can always go to your main desk too, that's staffed 24/7, or see your resident assistant as well.
Are Oakland floors co-ed as well?
They are, with the exception of the 7th floor of both buildings, east and west. Those are all female floors. The rest of the floors are co-ed in Oakland Hall.
Are command strips allowed to be hung on walls?
They are, but be very careful and follow the instructions. Our walls can be different. If you're in one of the more traditional residence halls, such as Borman, and you have plaster walls, that's very different than the drywall that you may see in Honors, Lincoln, or Oakland. And you have to be very careful, especially on those walls, because it can stick, or if you pull it off, it can pull the paint off or damage the wall. So we don't suggest any particular type of item to hang or device to hang items, but there are a lot of different options out there. Just make sure that you're following the instructions, and definitely don't want you drilling holes in the walls or nails or things like that. There are some areas that have a strip that allows you to hang items, and you can get hooks from your main desk that go into those grooves on the strips to hang certain items. And certain putties work as well, depending on the wall type.
So COVID protocol, if a student has a single room, are meals brought to them?
This year, and I know they're still working through those various protocols, that if a student was in isolation, meals were delivered. I know that is one of those things that the university did a great job communicating those expectations this year, and I know that's something that they're going to do next year. As COVID continues to evolve and we learn more about it, That information is going to be shared depending on our current circumstances. But if a student is required to isolate, they have been getting meals to the student and making sure that they're comfortable and making sure that the environment, the residential environment, is a safe environment.
I see information about optional desk hutches. Are they secured to the desk? Is it just a storage solution or is there something more to it?
It is a storage solution. And I believe those orders within the next few weeks, you'll be able to take a look at those options on our optional service page and place orders. You may want to bring your own. And there are also some information about certain halls already have desks with hutches built in. So you may not need it, but there are other bookshelves. So a lot of different options out there, but it is a storage solution such as bins that you can put under the bed as well. And that's another one of those things that as you find out what storage solutions you need, you can always order them later if you didn't bring exactly what you wanted the first time.
When can we reserve a parking space?
That you want to go through transportation.wvu.edu if you're talking about parking for the year. And there are some private options as well. I would do that as soon as possible and talk to them because I know those spaces, the university lots are limited, and it's probably going to be in a holding lot such as the one that's near the WVU Law School.
So you actually cannot reserve parking until you've gone through and met with your advisor during new student orientation. So you have to have a class schedule as a freshman.
I'm embarrassed.
So.
I did not know that.
Oh, you're not parking, you're housing. It still doesn't hurt to get in touch with transportation to ask them those specific questions, but that is all we know about the parking situation. So do all Quest trips move in early? My son is signed up for a trip in July.
That one's not, and that's why I would talk to Adventure. So obviously you're not going to move in July. So I'm pretty confident the one you're referring to would not move in early. It's only those trips that are going, and it's typically a drop off. They're dropping their items off and then they're going on their trip and then they're coming back during that regular move-in time. And those specific sections of Adventure West Virginia, they're going to let you know what date and time you need to be there for move-in, and we're going to be ready for you.
Are there locks on the individual closets in Summit for storing valuables when not in the room?
There are different, as I mentioned before, it depends on the room. The lockable ones are mainly in towers. There are some closets that have hasps on them and you can bring a lock. You can also bring a small safe if you wanted to, nothing big, but a small safe. The residence halls are very secured as long as you're doing the responsible thing and keeping your doors secured. We have cameras at every entrance, security, well, I should say, external doors all have card access and are closed after hours. And a lot of the residence halls, including Summit, you're going to use your ID card to get onto the elevator to go up to the student rooms. So I want you to feel very safe there. Most of what we see are what are called crimes of opportunity. Somebody leaves their room and their cell phone is sitting out on their desk and somebody grabs it, but even that doesn't happen that often as well. So, and if anything would happen like that, report it to our university police, and they're very good at following up and helping students in those scenarios.
Is there a way to contact a roommate other than through the housing portal? My son has tried using my housing portal and got no response.
The best thing to do would be to try to use that name and see if you can find them on social media. It's a couple things could be happening. One, they're not checking their WVU account, but there's not another way to get in touch with them, or they choose not to respond, or they may or may not be coming. It's really tough to tell. If you really have a problem, let us know and reach out to us and we'll try. But outside of that, we kind of have that same information that you do that's on the portal. So not a lot of great advice there, but give it a little bit of time. They may just be checking their email now and they may get that information or get back into the portal and get back to you very soon.
When is honors move-in day?
Honors move-in day, that'll be communicated by honors. And I don't know what their specific expectations are for their orientation. I believe what'll happen is those aren't going to stop until the regular move-in time, But instead of signing up for that last day on Saturday, I believe they're probably going to want you to sign up for a Thursday or Friday time slot, but they should be communicating that information very soon. But that's what I would plan for, because you probably need to be here by Saturday.
How do students on the Evansdale campus get back from downtown after the PRT closes? Example, going to Up All Night.
So the PRT runs fairly late, but after the PRT shuts down, the buses are going to run even later. And they are going to have those routes from the downtown campus to the Evansdale campus and the other way around, of course. I think we were looking at the Mountain Line bus schedule, the most recent Decide event, and they run until like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
We also have Uber and Lyft here as well. If if your student ever needs that mode of transportation as well. What is supplied in the Seneca kitchens?
So all the appliances, you want to bring your own utensils and plates and things of that nature, but you are going to have the full size fridge. You're going to have a microwave, you're going to have a stove, you're going to have an oven. And that's the one area that you are allowed to bring what we consider typical appliances, such as a toaster, items that we wouldn't want in the residence halls that aren't equipped for those types of items.
My son is in one of the lofts at Stoniker. Are there any recommendations you would make for the kids in those lofts?
No, other than they're really, really cool rooms. Instead of 2 rooms connected by a bathroom, they're 2 floors. And they do have a couple different layouts, but they're really big. And there's a lot of fun that you can have with them because they're so big. You can change it up. You could put the beds in one area, make a living area, a sleeping area, or split it up. So you have a lot of different options and the bathrooms within that larger loft. So they're very few. So to get one, you're very lucky, and they are a lot of fun, and you have a lot of play with that room to kind of mix it up throughout the year.
What residence halls still have openings?
That is a loaded question, only in that it changes. So and it depends on gender, it depends on living learning community. I can say that there are a few halls though that have fairly significant wait lists. So Stoniker Hall, for example, it's our smallest residence hall. There are only less than 250 spaces. And like I said, we probably will have well over 4,000 students. So they're limited in numbers. Seneca has a fairly large wait list. Summit does as well, but it has more spaces overall. So it's one of those that we can move through that wait list a little bit quicker. So, and then pretty much everything else has vacancies, but that changes. So for example, Honors is getting close to getting full with female spots, but still has more male spots. And then I always joke and laugh, we have what I call the male slacker effect. Female applicants tend to apply before their male counterparts, and I'll own the male slacker effect for myself.
Is there AC in Brook Tower?
AC in all the residence, all the towers, all the residence halls with the exception of Borman North and South and Dadisman Hall. And in those areas, we definitely want you to bring a fan. I would suggest a cheap box fan for the window and an oscillating fan for the desk. Once the building gets opened up and windows are open, it does tend to get comfortable. Remember, you get here in August and it's fairly hot. It's a little hot in September, but then as long as we have normal temperatures, it starts to cool down. Right now it's still cool and we're just a few weeks from the end of the semester. So most of the time here, you won't use air conditioning, but I realize it can be hot on the front end. Talk to your roommate, find out what they're going to bring. Don't go all out. The best fans are the cheapest fans, such as the box fans and the oscillating fans to get that air moving.
Are there 2 cable outlets in double rooms so each person can have their own TV?
Yes, they're all active, but having 2 TVs going off at the same time in a residence hall space would not make much sense. So I would probably not suggest having more than 1 TV, especially now that most students are using other devices to stream. So you can, we're not going to stop you, but it probably won't be that productive.
I'm going to be a student athlete who was put in Oakland for housing by my coaches. Are all athletes located in Oakland or are they spread out?
All athletes are going to be in Oakland Hall or Oakland Apartments. Your first assignment will probably be in Oakland, but if your coach is telling you you're supposed to be with somebody, that's probably because we haven't received that information from the compliance office yet. And as soon as we do save rooms in Oakland Hall for athletes so that they can be assigned together. And as we get that information, we'll get you reassigned to the right space. But yes, if you're in Oakland, you're in the right spot if you're an athlete.
Good to know. Can the micro fridge be split so we each can be billed half?
I don't think they will invoice you half and half. So you will have to have that agreement with the other family, but you can split that cost amongst yourselves, but one person is going to actually have to order it. They typically will not take more than one order per room. There are some exceptions to that. You really don't need 2 microwaves. If you needed another refrigerator, and there are cases where that makes sense, if you have medications, for example, you can bring your own refrigerator, and the information is there on our what to bring, what not to bring, the size, the cubic feet of that. But I would just get another little mini fridge, but you only need 1 micro fridge per room because you don't need 2 microwaves.
Honors Hall, are there laundry facilities on each floor, and how many washer dryer units are there?
Laundry is in every residence hall. And in some cases, such as honors, it is in one central location and it's a larger laundry room. And then in places like towers, there's a couple units on each floor. No matter where you're at, and that's a great question, you don't need to bring a big bag of quarters. They don't even take coins anymore. You put money on Mountie Bounty and mom and dad can add money to Mountie Bounty. You can see what's available by using the app. You can put a short hold on one to reserve one and activate it from your phone. So that's very nice. No big bag of quarters. They make them very easy to use. There's a few buttons on there like whites and colors. So, but you may still want to give that lesson if somebody hasn't done laundry before, give them that short course at home before they come up. Biggest challenge we have are students that haven't done laundry in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 weeks. And then they try to do a load of laundry to do all their laundry. So we don't want you to overload. So if you have questions about that, see your resident assistant. Somebody's going to help you with that. But that's our biggest challenge, people overloading those machines. Then bad things happen.
And another question that we always get to is you can bring regular liquid detergents or the pods. That's totally fine. Can the students control the temperature in their room, or is it automatically decided by the dorm?
Depends on the location, but for most cases, there are restrictors on those and how far you can move it one way or the other. It isn't like at home, though, where you're setting it to 72 degrees and then changing it to 74 degrees. Sometimes in buildings, too, it can be a little clunky during those transition periods. We're in one now where tomorrow it's going to be in the upper 70s, which it hasn't been all year. And that'll be our hottest day. And then the next day it'll get into the 40s or get down, and we may even have a freeze or a frost. So, and there, the facilities team is constantly monitoring that when they have the steam heat on, when they turn it off, when the air conditioner goes on, when it goes off, but it's tough to kind of get rooms up and down. So that's the one part you want to get used to. It's typically not a problem. The only challenging time of the year is when we start to hit fall and the temperature's changing, and right now when it's starting to change back.
When is the deadline to apply for the Oakland apartments for freshmen?
That happens very quickly. There are only a handful of spaces there. It's very limited. We send out that invitation to students that already have a booking. They should have probably already received an email from Jessica Carr with the University Park leasing office. So they would want to respond to that very quickly. Right now, I don't think there are any vacancies, but a student could still contact them to get on a possible wait list if we have any cancellations.
How do you order a micro fridge? Grace did put the link in the chat, but can you order them now?
Yes, you can. So that ordering process opened on April 1st. So they are accepting orders for next fall now. $225. I always forget that. And today I haven't been asked the question and I know the answer.
$225. And again, Grace was very gracious enough to put that link in the chat. My son is in Oakland Hall and is not an athlete. Is this okay?
Yes, very okay. The athletes are still going to be a small portion of that overall population. And Oakland, between East and West, is a very large facility of about 900 beds.
Just to reiterate, when is freshman moving again?
It is August 11th, that Thursday through Saturday, August 11th through the 13th. And information will come out soon about move-in appointments. It'll probably be a little bit closer to the Destination WVU, that June event where you can come and visit campus.
Which again, we do want to reiterate that your students should be checking their mixed email regularly. They're going to be receiving a lot of information to their mixed email and not their personal email so much anymore. So just make sure that they're keeping an eye on that mixed email. So Abigail asked, I think I saw something where it's under 100 per night for families to stay during move-in. If so, is this nearby? I want to say I think there might be some confusion with graduation weekend, where we do offer housing in Lincoln that's under $100, but we don't offer that for move-in.
We're all full during move-in.
All right, well, that is the end of our questions. Folks, we have a lot of links in the chat, and you can always email Eric O'Hara as well, or call housing, or go to the website. And is there anything else? Oh, Mara was so nice to put Eric's email in the chat. I don't know if Eric loves that or not.
I was typing it, so that was perfect, Mara. Thank you. You beat me to it.
But again, we did record this session. And so any of the recordings you can find on our Parents Club website. I can throw that in the chat as well, or if Mara can. But we do have all of our previous sessions that we've done with this series recorded on there as well. We'll get this one up and going next week. So we'll share it to our 2026 Facebook group. But until then, if you need anything at all, you can email Eric, you can email the Parents Club. We are here, we are your resources. But until then, we hope to see you on campus, and have a good night, everyone.
Good night.